All right. Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Holland Martin. For communities around the world and the nation, we're here with Brian Walker, former Marion Giant All-Star guard. Brian, how you doing?
Good, good. How you doing, Howard?
Hey, doing good, man. Just wanted to reach out to former alumni that has made it and kind of wanted to show the kids that you can leave Marion and actually do things in the world and make a difference.
Oh, I appreciate that. And appreciate you reaching out and giving me the opportunity.
No problem, man. Let's jump right into it. You were a one of the better all-star guards in Marion history, coming after the Dream Team, and then that era with David and Butler and him, and then it was Jerry, and then it was you. So let's tell the people about yourself. Who is Brian Walker coming up as a youngster in Marion?
Yeah, thanks. So Brian Walker coming up in Marion. I was a graduate. Well, I was there at the high school, anyways, between '89 and '93. Graduated in '93. Just like you said, there was a lot of rich history and tradition, which Brian Walker grew up, watching as a very young kid. Started playing ball at a very young age. Competing against my older brother, Lee Walker, older cousin Steve Walker, and my oldest brother Derek Barnett. Both Steve and Derek Barnett, played on some of the, the Hall of Fame team. So played with some of the greatest to come through there. So that's kind of, what sort of defined Brian Walker from a basketball perspective and really got me, into the game. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, just, only living 2 or 3 blocks from the high school, having the opportunity to go up there, watch practices, games, and all of that good stuff. And, seeing everybody from the likes of James Blackman, Jay Edwards, Lyndon Jones, Nicky Mallory, all of the great guards that have come through there and inspired me to play the game as well.
So you fell in love with the game at an early age?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like I said, I was probably, 5 or 6 years old. And what I really remember is, every summer going up to the high school for the camps.
Yeah.
And, Coach Colescott, who's been a staple there at Marion High School and has gone through, let's just say all of the glory years. I developed a very close relationship with Coach Colescott, starting from a very early age, from the camps on up until the point, obviously playing there at the high school, and then even beyond. Coach Colescott and I stayed in touch. As a matter of fact, he even came to my graduation at college. But yeah. That's what kind of got me rooted in the game.
Okay. So were you involved in the boys club, Pal Club coming up?
Absolutely. Yeah. So certainly the boys club, every year, summer league. I joke with my friends outside of Marion that don't know, what Marion is all about. So, these are some of the guys I played with in college, but I tell them, it's amazing the amount of talent that came through Marion. So
it still is.
Oh my gosh.
Untapped talent.
Yep. Yeah. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, playing against a lot of that talent at the boys club, once again in the summer leagues, mm-hmm. Whether it be playing in, your own age group or trying to play a couple cuts up above, just to kind of, hone in your game.
Make you better.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had the opportunity to do that. And I certainly spent quite a bit of time playing at the Pal Club in those leagues as well. So kind of playing in both. And, the other thing I would mention is just the local parks, which I know a lot of the local parks are 38th Street, 14th Street, down Central, they're all gone, some of the best games.
They are all gone.
Yeah, unfortunately.
38, Webster, down in 14th and McClure, they're gone. So getting into the middle school years, that would have been a time when Jay and Lyndon and those guys were making their run. Talk about the influences that those guys had, and knowing that you were just a couple of years away from getting to the high school, going in middle school, watching.
Right. Yeah. So Jay and Lynn and the rest of the team. I mean, those teams were just packed with all-time greats, all-stars, what have you. So for myself and a lot of my friends, that's what we were doing when we were at the park or we were at the boys club or at the Pal Club. we were pretending to be those guys, right? So,
Exactly.
Watching their every move. Like I say, I live very close to the high school, so I had the opportunity to go and watch practices, see how they, work and develop their craft, and then really try and pattern yourself after that. And then, of course, with all of the accomplishments they had, some pretty big shoes to try and fill, and some pretty high expectations to try and live up to once we actually got to the high school and had our turn to make a run at it.
All right. Well, let's get into that. So it was finally your turn. Marion makes that great run in your 8th grade year. They go to South Bend. David Anderson scores the 38 points. Were you able to attend that game and listen to it on the radio or anything back then?
I was actually able to attend the game. So,
okay.
Once again, just loving the game the way I did, and fortunate enough, my parents was into following those games as well. Like I said, I had some family members that kind of played on those teams. So yeah, we traveled to all those games. So yeah, that was pretty amazing. Watching Dave and the rest of the team kind of do their thing and represent Marion well.
And now it's your turn. Freshman coming in. Like you said, now you have maybe to share the backcourt with Jerry, and I think Jeff McPherson was there, and really that team was talented as well, man. I mean, those guys were really talented. Did you play much varsity your freshman year?
So I kind of split time. Myself and Orlando Small, we actually dress both JV and then dress varsity. So from time to time we get some playing time. But just like you said, those teams with Jerry Freshwater, Curtis McClung, Johnny Williams, Jason McCain, Detrick, those teams are really stacked, and they were stacked at each and every position. So we spent a lot of time on the JV team, developing our game and at least getting some time to get on the court, play against some good competition, and then once again dress varsity. So
it was so big back then. I remember Channel 13 coming in doing an interview with Jason McCain, and one of my biggest memories is that team back when Sunnycrest did the TV station. They did a commercial. They had the water tower in the background and had the whole basketball team walking. I implore Sunnycrest and Marion to replay those games.
Right.
I mean, they would be filming the games. We go to McDonald's or Burger King and have fun. By the time we got home, the games were on TV.
Right. Yep.
And then they replay them the next day. And they did that for 20 years from when us guys played all the way up to past Zach and all past those guys. There's thousands of games that I wish that they could digitally transfer. Because we're talking about it. We could actually go to some of those games. So I actually want to touch on that. So your first 3 years, you had Coach Gunn. And then on your senior year, you had Coach Bill Green. Talk about some of the fun times you had with those guys, and maybe not so many times, and some of the games that you remember.
Yeah. So like you said, I mean, ever since freshman year, Coach Gunn came in. And once again, anybody that's coming into Marion, there's some pretty high expectations. So a lot of pressure, but, I think that's something that's just kind of, everyone that's from Marion, we're kind of born with, we're used to. Like I said, because you have been playing against so many talented people, you kind of welcome, the pressure that comes along and playing for Marion and the high expectation. And so when Coach Gunn came in, like I said, a lot of talented folks on those teams. And, I'm trying to think, there's so many positive memories. I mean, when I think about negative, the only negative I can think about is not being able to reach, the highest level, and that's the state championship, with some of those teams, because I certainly felt like those teams were deep enough, had enough talent to get it done. But fact of the matter is we didn't reach those heights. But certainly, we made a lot of noise. We played in the NCC, which is one of the toughest conferences. I think it's one of the toughest conferences, even on a national level, when you look at Pound for pound, the different schools that represent the North Central Conference. So
even touching on that, I think your junior and senior year, it was like Richmond and Lafayette was in the Richmond and Lafayette played that overtime game your junior year, and then I think was it Jeffersonville Ben Davis played at this or your senior year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had some. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say we had some really memorable games in the sense of, like you said, a lot of close games. I think anytime you get the likes of a Richmond, an Anderson, a Highland coming from Anderson,
yeah,
Kokomo, Muncie, Fort Wayne, you name it. Anytime you team those teams up with a Marion, it's going to be a good game, right? I mean, it's just the big rivalry and everything that comes along with it. So, I remember at least during my senior year, I think we were ranked, I don't know, maybe 8th or 10th in the state.
Number 5 coming out.
Number 5 in the state.
5, and I think you beat Highland out the gate, which they were state ranked, and then you had Anderson. Number 1.
Mm-hmm. Anderson came in; they were nationally ranked.
Let's jump right into that. So that Giants game at Anderson was one of the all-time greats. It was just I think the 3rd game of the season, something like that, coming in.
Mm-hmm.
First NCC game. What I remember is first quarter, it was probably like, tie score 11-11, something like that. And I remember Kyle Kirby hit 2 big threes
in
the early on, and we were up, and then even in the 3rd quarter we was up, and then Kojak turned it on in the 3rd quarter. Kojak Fuller, everything guard from Anderson at the time. Kojak turned it up, and I think he got like 13 in the quarter, and then it was a ball game then.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of people don't know the very first appearance of Jody McCain in a game. I think O went out. Jody came in, got a bucket, and then I think Prince came down and hit a shot from Anderson, and then O came back in, Fuller hit a shot, and then that set up the stage. So you set the stage. We're down, I think 56, 57. Chip Bryan is out guarding Fuller on a box and one.
Mm-hmm.
And set the stage of what happens after that.
Yeah, so like you said, I mean, we had been going back and forth all night. And of course we knew, at that point in the game that Kojak was going to get the ball. They were going to run a play for Kojak. And in some cases you could just give Kojak the ball and get out of the way, right? So we were in a box and one. Chip Bryan, like you said, he had the tough assignment of trying to guard Kojak. And because we were in a box and one, that really set us up to be able to help if Kojak was able to make a move, which he was able to do. He basically made a move, was going to the left elbow, which is one of his favorite spots to kind of stop, pop, and pull up.
Okay.
I was fortunate enough to be in the right place at the right time on that box and one.
Mm-hmm.
And as Kojak was coming around to the right elbow, I kind of released.
Mm-hmm.
And Chip was driving him, basically right to me. So he kind of released, and before he could get, sort of in the shooting pocket, I was able to basically knock the ball away.
Mm-hmm.
Knock the ball away, turn into a steal. I can't remember, end up going down. I don't know if got fouled, missed the layup, or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
But was able to basically, get us in a position where we could get the score and actually get the win. So
that's awesome.
One of the memorable games, anyways, for I think, for that particular team.
In Marion history now, what can't be discounted, the game winner by Orlando Small, just a horse. I think Bill Green had said that Orlando was one of the strongest players he had since George McGinnis.
Absolutely.
Which is great praise. But he was a beast all night down low, but he hit that nice 10-foot jumper game, and then you did your thing. But that was one of the clutch shots, I think, in Marion history at that time.
Yep.
Which catapulted you guys. I think you guys ended up going 16-5 or something. Regionals or something like that, but which was pretty exciting. What the play people, everybody talk about. Let's just segue to the Muncie game. just kind of touch on that real quick. It was Bonzi Wells, Muncie All-Star, Orlando Small, inside, guards, you and some of the other guys on their team. And but everyone wants to talk about that dunk that Bonzi had over, I guess it was a dunk fest. Talk real quick about what you saw on that court at that moment. Could you just tell me what you remember?
Yeah. So I mean, you mentioned Orlando Small. So Big O was like you said, he was a monster, right? So I mean, everything from just the touch, the hands, the jumper. He was kind of like the versatile big man before the versatile big man became popular, right? O could definitely step out, but at the same time, he had the hops too, right? So we had a play that everyone knew, and when they saw me throw up the signal, everyone in the stands, from the M Club and everyone knew what was coming, right? We was gonna throw the alley-oop from the opposite side. So I think we had run that play, of course, successful. O got the dunk. And then I can't even remember how the play developed. But, Bonzi Wells being one of the younger players, but he was certainly recognized as being one of the best players on the court.
Yes.
And we all knew this. I mean, we all played AAU ball together. So Cody McCain, Tavares Rankins, who was, freshman and sophomore on our team at the time, but making an impact on the game. And then the same thing for Bonzi being in the same class with them.
Yes.
Came out of nowhere with a monster dunk, right? And I think it caught everyone probably outside of, let's just say, everyone on the court by surprise, just because they didn't know. But certainly, years down the road from now, they know who Bonzi Wells is.
We still talk about that dunk.
Right.
We still talk about the O dunk. We still talk about the Bonzi dunk. It was crazy. But so let's move on, though. A lot of people don't realize, I'll touch back again. The next year, I feel that Bonzi Wells got robbed of the Mr. Basketball. That's what I feel. I feel he should have won it, but he didn't. But that's neither here nor there. Let's move on. So you tell me about the process of Navy. Did they recruit you? How did you pick Navy?
Yep. So Navy was one of the schools that really just kind of came out of nowhere as far as the recruiting process. I mean, once again, growing up in Marion, you're thinking Big Ten. If you could, you'd love to get into somewhere like the Big East or, Pac-10 or something like that. So looking at different D1 schools, and it's not to say that I was being recruited by those schools, certainly would get letters and stuff like that, but not heavily recruited. So I was looking at schools like Tulsa. One Big Ten school I was looking at was Minnesota at the time. And so the Naval Academy, as well as West Point and Air Force, all started recruiting me about at the same time. And I didn't know much about the military academies. So I think Navy was actually there to recruit someone from one of the neighboring schools, from Madison Grant, actually. They had a junior on their team that was pretty good. I'm drawing a blank on his name. But anyways, they were there to recruit him. And, one thing led to another. Had the opportunity to see me play. I think I had a good game against Madison Grant. This was probably in the, sectionals or what have you. But Navy recruitment, and, during my junior year going into, I guess that summer, or during spring break, I went out and visited all three academies. And once I got to Navy, I kind of knew, I was like, man, this is a huge opportunity. And where the program was at the time, certainly the area, being in the Maryland, DC, Virginia area, which sort of reminds me of home a little bit, but, it's kind of obviously got the bigger city feel to it. Everything just seemed to click. And then I actually clicked very well with the coach who was recruiting me at the time, was Doug Wojcik. And Doug Wojcik was a point guard back in the David Robinson era. So he was the one, that had the big run there. So between, those two or three things, like I say, it just really clicked for me that
it's a no-brainer.
Navy was the opportunity, and basically the rest is history.
Okay. And you got a lot of run your freshman year.
Yeah. So coming in is make a long story short. So Doug Wojcik once again was the one that recruited me. Don DeVoe was the head coach at the time. Don DeVoe has a history as well. At West Point, he was there with Coach K and Coach Knight, and then has gone on and had his own success in his own career. University of Tennessee, so on and so forth. But anyways, he developed a tradition and a liking for tall guards. And as you know, I'm 5'8" at best. So I think it was kind of a selling thing for Coach Wojcik to actually sell the idea to recruit me. So when I first got there, it was a bit of a challenge to try and prove my worth and actually get some time on the court. But the program was not doing so well when I first got there. As a matter of fact, it kind of bottomed out. They lost to a Division III team.
Oh, wow.
And Coach DeVoe sent all the coaches out, told them not to even show up to the next game, to go out and start recruiting right away. So anyways, the opportunity came up, and certainly when the opportunity came up, I seized the day. I think the first game I got a chance to start, I was like one rebound short from getting a triple-double. So, I made, like I say, made every effort to make the best of the opportunity. And once again, after that, things just started to click, not only for myself, but for the team. And really the rest is history. That's when we made the run to the NCAA tournament.
They were getting the Energizer. You were Ryan the Energizer. I mean, and what amazed me, just maybe get back to the high school, there were games where you played every minute. There were games where Coach Gunn or Coach Green didn't take you out. Like, you earned that name. I mean, you were zipping all over, making plays, playing defense, running the team. You deserved it. Back to Navy for a bit. So talk about that. You were one, point or rebound shy of a triple-double, but you eventually got one against Bucknell. Can you just go back to that game your freshman year and what it felt like to kind of be put on a national stage right at that time?
Yeah, it was really cool in the sense of, one, not getting a lot of playing time in the first half of the year, and then, being put or given the opportunity to start, and then to have the team just kind of rally around that and start to click. And, we went on a run, probably, rallied off about 10 straight games, and that led us into the Patriot League tournament.
Yes.
Where Bucknell, I think at the time, was probably top 2 or 3 in the Patriot League. And we had the opportunity, we had to go through them in order to get to that title that particular year. So and they had a tough point guard. So I was always up for the challenge. Anytime to try and prove my worth. So just like you were saying, my nickname was the Energizer, but I would certainly not shy away from trying to go in and get the rebounds. My thing was actually providing assists, getting other people involved in the game. I wasn't a big scorer, but if I needed to score, I would certainly look to do that. And this just so happened to be one of those games. I think our leading scorer either got into foul trouble or for whatever reason was out of the game. I was having a good, offensive game at that point. Coach DeVoe looked at me and basically just said, you got it. Do what you got to do. So I was sort of in rare form, I guess you could say, that game. And like I say, just kind of lucked out and was able to pick up the triple-double.
I think it was 11 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists. I mean, 11, 11, 11. That's awesome. And I think it propelled you guys, after winning the Patriot League, you got into the tournament your freshman year too, didn't you? That's
right, yeah. We got the because of, winning the Patriot League, we got the automatic bid. And, being a smaller D1 school, of course, we were put up against a number 1 seed. So we played Missouri that year. So we played against, they had 3 blue chip players on there. They had Melvin Booker, who's the father of Booker for the Suns.
Yes.
Today. And they had Kelly Thames, who was a blue chip player. And they had one other, Javon Crudup, who's another All-American. So,
pretty tough.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we went in there trying to hold our own, but.
And so the next 2 seasons didn't make the tournament, but 97, you guys made it back. Just maybe touch on that season, making it back to the tournament. Your senior year?
Senior year, yep, yeah. So we had some good seasons in between. Unfortunately, fell short in the Patriot League, and without the automatic bid, even though we had 20+ win seasons, we didn't have the schedule to get to get that selection. But that's okay. And then, senior year, at that point in my career, senior year is kind of like, man, this is it. You know what I mean? I had aspirations, had dreams, to obviously play in the league, but there's different things, and being at a military academy, there's some challenges in doing that.
Did you have those commitments, kind of like with the David Robinson, after you played, you have so many years of commitment and things like that?
Absolutely, yeah. So it's a 5-year commitment after graduation.
Okay.
So the culmination of the senior year was basically, this is it. It's treat every game like it's its last, and that's the way we approached that season. That's the way we approached that tournament. And we were at the top of the Patriot League. I think we were tied for first going into it. But myself and there's one other senior, Mike Green from Los Angeles. We basically told ourselves and the rest of the team that was following us at the time, as the Mike and I as the two co-captains, that there was no other choice but to win that tournament and get another berth to the tournament. Yeah.
Awesome. Who bounced you guys out, by the way?
So once again, we were teamed up against another number 1 seed. So that year we played against Utah. They had Andre Miller, Keith Van Horn. They had one other guy. He was from Sweden, because we actually we traveled in the summer playing over in Sweden and Finland, and we played against this guy. Part of that summer travel. But anyways, they had three All-Americans on that team that we ended up facing. I think they only beat us by 8 or 11 points. It was actually a close game. We played them tough, but once again, that size and that experience, got the best of us at the end.
So due to that commitment, wasn't any possibility of playing overseas or the CBA? Did you have any NBA camp offers or anything like that afterwards?
So that was kind of the good thing with the tournament. Of course, once again, playing against number 1 seed, and they had an All-American, point guard, and Andre Miller, who went on to play in the league for several years. Andre was one of those vets that actually stuck around for quite some time. There were several NBA scouts there to see Andre, and luck has it, I actually had a pretty good game, and was invited to come out to Denver at the time. So that summer I ended up spending some time at the Denver rookie camp. I was playing with Tyus Edney, Merrill Coate, who played at Clemson, and actually even one of the guys I went up against from Fort Wayne, Northrop. So there's a guy by the name of Marcus Lovett, who moved to Fort Wayne North at his senior year, and Marcus was a beast. And Chip will remember, because Chip had the tough assignment of guarding him when they came to Marion our senior year. But
Chip was tough, man.
Chip, absolutely.
Chip was tough. I remember you had that drop top blue S10, baby. Had the 2 18s in the back.
That's right. Right.
Hey, shaking the city, man. Those are great memories. People still talk about that truck too, man. You're a legend in the community. People still talk about those games, still talk about you. You're held in high regard in the community. So after going through your commitment, and after that, what have you been doing, in your adult life?
Right. So I spent, including school, I spent 12 years in the military, stationed out in San Diego. Had the opportunity to travel all over the world, which opened up some doors. Most certainly, one of which, that opened up some doors to start my own business. So 2 classmates of mine, Matt Betts, who also played, on the Giants, Ron Turner,
Big Ron.
started a business. 2 legends in their own right. But
hey, Matt can shoot that ball, boy.
Right. So we open opportunity to start our own business. So we have a custom clothing business called Hip Loose. Custom clothing, high-end suit, shirts, and shoes, and as well as opening doors, in corporate America as well. So, I spent almost 10 years working in the energy sector. I was doing solar energy when I first started out, and then transitioned, started working in the oil and gas industry, based here in Maryland, spent some time down in Houston, And then now I've kind of come full circle. So when I was at the academy, my degree was in computer science. And I really didn't, let's just say, fully leverage that during my time in service or what have you. But anyways, kind of come full circle, and now I work for Amazon Web Services, which is a great company to work for. One of the biggest companies, and certainly one of the most forward-thinking, forward-leaning companies when it comes to just thinking outside of the box on how to do business, which is
employees
companies.
That is awesome. That is big time. So since you are in that Eastern Coast, Virginia, Maryland area, can you just touch on a little bit some of the things that are happening in Washington, D.C. with the craziness that's going on there? Is it scary times in that area? Is it affecting you by being so close?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I'd have to assume that even for people that aren't as close, it's affecting them just because of what it stands for, right? I mean, difficult times for America, and even just talking about, I spent 12 years of my life, fighting for a country where technically, we as minorities are, fighting for equity and things of that nature, even till today. So certainly when I see it on TV, if I see it in person, because I am in the Maryland, Baltimore area, it impacts you. But at the same time, that's a lot of negativity that's been played out, certainly on the public stage, or on the global stage, I should say, on major media, airwaves and news streams and all of that good stuff. But at the same time, I'm also able to see history being made with I was here and had the chance to be on the mall when President Obama was inaugurated, having the opportunity to participate and volunteer for that situation. As well as even, I'm sorry?
I was going to say, he came to Marion during his campaign in 2008.
Yep.
So awesome.
Yeah. So it's awesome to be able to just see that, and then current day, with President-elect Biden coming in, Kamala Harris, being the first Black female, being able to spend time like with my alumni association, looking to invoke change there, and impact opportunities, making sure opportunities are afforded to other minorities. At the Naval Academy and other military academies and things of that nature, getting involved with those type of activities. It's good to be in this area and be able to do that.
Affect change and make things happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. There's one thing, being in the Navy, were you ever on a submarine? Did you have to do
so I wasn't on a submarine, not stationed anyway. So I was surface warfare, so I was always on I was on a cruiser, and then I was on an amphibious assault ship. For my back-to-back tours out of San Diego. But my older brother, who was a submariner, he spent 20 plus years in the Navy and was actually on submarines during his time in service.
All right. Just wanted to ask that. Well, hey, Brian, I want to thank you, man, for coming to join me on today's Zoom interview. Please, I really would like to do this more. What I want to do is get a bunch of players like you, say, I want to get a Freshwater on, I want to get a Recometto on, I want to get a McPherson on, and just talk about things like this. Where you're at, what you've done in the past, what you're going to do, and, just kind of touch base with the people that love you guys so much, and move on. So I'm pleased to have you on. I thank you, and hopefully maybe you can be on another time soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, Holland, it's been a pleasure, an honor. Appreciate you reaching out, and I'd be certainly up for getting on with some of the players I had the opportunity to play with. Certainly a lot of the players I had the opportunity to look up to and learn from. So yeah, to be able to get on, collectively as a group and just kind of talk about the good old times and what's going on today would be awesome.
I've sent out a few invites, and after people hear this, hopefully more people will jump on. But I appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you as well.
And God bless.
God bless you as well. Take care.
You too. Thank you.
Okay.